Hey everyone, just letting you know about a podcast that I listen to all the time. It's called Famous Lost Words. It's created by two really good friends of mine, Tom Jokic and Christopher Ward. It's a podcast that features long-lost interviews with incredible musical artists, all throughout the ages in all different genres. I personally guarantee that you will enjoy every single episode as much as I do. Once again, it's called Famous Lost Words, and it's available wherever you get your podcasts. Welcome to Women in the Music Industry, the podcast that shines a spotlight on the remarkable women who are breaking barriers and making their mark in an industry that has long been dominated by men. I'm your host, Rob Wells, and I'm thrilled to have you join us on this empowering journey. Each episode of this podcast will be dedicated to exploring the inspiring stories, accomplishments, and struggles of the extraordinary women who have defied the odds and made waves in the music business. Together, we'll delve into the journeys of female artists, songwriters, producers, musicians, managers, executives, and all those who have helped play a pivotal role behind the scenes. We'll uncover the stories that deserve to be heard, as well as celebrate the triumphs, challenges, and unique perspectives that women bring to the music industry. Whether you're a fan of music, an aspiring artist, or simply curious about the inner workings of the music business, this podcast will offer a valuable perspective. Together, we'll celebrate the power of music and the strength of these inspiring women. So join us as we amplify their voices and together pave the way for a future where women in the music business are no longer the exception, but the rule. Today's podcast is sponsored by the Songwriter's Piano, an easy-to-use app for songwriters and lyricists to use when coming up with song ideas when there's no instrument around or nobody to play one. With the Songwriter's Piano, one can easily play commonly used pop songwriting chord sequences at the touch of a screen, in any key, in 3 different chord variations, all played on a gorgeously recorded grand piano. Download the Songwriter's Piano by Play Like Me apps today, found on both iOS and Android stores everywhere. Welcome everyone to another episode of Women in the Music Industry. For those of you who are joining us for the first time, welcome to the podcast. For those of you who have been here before, welcome back. My guest today, and I'm so excited for this, is none other than England's own incredibly acclaimed singer-songwriter and ridiculously talented musical artist, Terri Walker. Yes! Terri is celebrating the 20th anniversary, of her critically acclaimed 2003 album, Untitled, with the release of her highly anticipated new album, My Love Story, out now via Wings of a Hummingbird Records / Believe UK. That's great news. That album is produced by Connie Khan and Tyler Daly, widely recognized as Children of Zeus. I need a cool name like that. Children of Zeus.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll think of something. Maybe by the end of this podcast, we'll have something that we've both figured out. Children of Zeus, they also co-wrote the album alongside Terri Walker and MCDRS. The 7-track album showcases Terri's unique blend of soul and R&B, and it is unique and it's really cool, and you should check out all of her music because it's really, really good. Following on from the release of singles Finally Over You and I'm Not the One, My Love Story is a testament to Terri's growth as an artist over the past 2 decades. How can it be 2 decades? You look like you've only been doing music for like a couple of years, man. It's crazy.
Get out of here. I'll pay you later.
Okay, sounds good. We'll speak to my manager. All right. Speaking about the album, Terri said, and I'm going to quote you now, "My Love Story is an album that I made for myself. It has been one of accountability and ownership. No blaming or assumptions. It's an album where I didn't worry that it didn't meet mine or other people's expectations." That's a great quote. And that's the end of your bio. So I'm going to now dive into you right now. This is great. Terri Walker, welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's an honor. I'm humbled.
I'm humbled too. I can't believe that you're here. I can't believe you said yes. And I'm so looking forward to having you here. Well, I can believe you said yes because I know you as like one of the nicest and funniest people that I've ever met. We've actually, we've met face to face a couple of times in life. And what brought us together was the marriage between my brother and Nina Woodford. And I got to meet you 10 years ago. And then I got to meet you just last year at the 10th wedding anniversary. And each time has been absolutely hilarious. And I just remember thinking, I wish I had more Terri Walker in my life.
That's nice.
It'd be so great if you lived around the corner and we could hang out all the time. But you, of course, live in England and I'm living in Canada. So we got to take what we can get.
But I feel the same way about you because your energy is just so like, my mum was saying how funny you are. Just so, like your mum, like your whole family, like just the most beautiful spirits, like in and out. So I feel very humbled for you today because it's like it's a reflection. It's all reflection.
That's very nice. Now, how much money do I owe you? Maybe the money that we owe each other is just going to cancel each other out, and we'll be at zero. No, it's interesting because like you can really tell right away, you know, who you get along with and who you don't, and just like with some people it takes a little bit of time, but other people it's like bam, right away. Like you can tell, oh, okay, this person has the same twisted sense of humor that I do, and also is a lover of life, and just like doesn't care how, you know, like how they act in public or whatever. It's just like be your cool, crazy self and have fun. You're just here for one time on this planet. And I feel like that's you all the way. And so I really gravitate towards that very, very much.
Oh, bless. You know what it is? I think being a creative and just knowing from quite a young age that I wanted to sing or that I wanted to be in something in regards to the entertainment business. I just realised that the best artists and the ones that stay around, that kind of are the most connecting and the one that resonates the most are the ones that are themselves, but also are honest with themselves and take accountability. That can laugh at themselves. You know, like the best comedians are the ones that make fun of themselves. You know, the best storytellers are the ones that tell the truth about what they've gone through. So, and I think those are the people that, you know, when I think about Nina Simone or I think of Whitney Houston or I think of like Doris Day is one of my favourite singers and actresses and Betty Davis. But you know, they were quite, all of those people, and I'm not saying that, but obviously Betty Davis was out here crazy and funny because she was quite serious, but she was just real and she was just truthful and she was just hardcore, but then there was Doris Day who was quite playful. So, and I feel like I've been inspired by those type of people, and I think it's kind of shaped me how I am now. So I do agree with you because I feel like for me life is too short. Life
is way too short. So a lot of it stems from my dad on my family side. My dad used to wear this shirt that I used to make fun of him when I was younger, but then as I got older, it's like, I get it. It had a shirt that was just said, "I'm free to be me," and I just thought, man, that's it right there. Free to be me. Just be you. Yeah. And so like just really just have fun. Who cares? Like if somebody's judging you or whatever, like that's on them. Like you just have fun as long as it's not hurting anybody and you're having a great time and you're making other people laugh. It's and just enjoying life and being a source of positivity. It's all a good thing. It's all a good thing.
I agree.
Yeah. So you mentioned just a little bit about like, you know, when you were going back and wanting to be an artist and wanting to be a singer and all that. I would love to turn the clock back just a little bit, not too far, but just if we can go back to the beginning of when it all happened. Like when did you first discover a love of music? When did that first enter your life? And just if you could possibly take us from that moment up to where we are now, I will just sit back and be entertained right now.
Oh my goodness. You'll have to ask me those questions because I start to ramble and go off into tangents sometimes. So
that's okay. I'll try to rein you in.
Yeah, you back in like, okay, so we're not in. I'm like, okay, so I forgot. You know what, for me, I remember my mum, I was born in England, in Roehampton in Wimbledon, and I moved to Germany when I was 4 years old, and I moved with my mum and my stepdad, who then adopted me and gave me his surname, which is then Chanel. I don't know if you ever Google me, Terri Walker, Chanel Stettenbauer is also my name. But my mum used to love music, and we used to have these bonding nights when I moved over to Germany, where she just used to play records of all these records that she used to love. So she'd be playing Marlena Shaw, "Go away, little boy, why don't you go?" Do you know the song? I'm not supposed to sit around with no one and no. But she used to play that record. She used to play The Whispers. She used to play Soul to Soul. She used to play all these different records. But I remember the first time getting this. What's the small end? There's the vinyl, there's the big one and there's the small one. What's the small one? The
45 single.
45 inch.
Yeah.
It was a 45 inch and it was of Phyllis Nelson's Move Closer, was move closer, move your body real close, something we. And I remember hearing that for the first time. I was like 5 years old, and I remember thinking to myself, I want to make people feel the way this song is making me feel right now. And then I knew from there, I was like, oh, what is this? I remember my mom said I kept playing it over and over and over. I couldn't stop playing it. And from that moment on, I was just always be in the front room listening to my mom's music. And we've got to pull the record back. Because back then vinyls was expensive, and every time you scratch it up, you have to get a new one because you wouldn't be able to play it. So, but I just grew up on just listening to a lot of different types of music. My mom was really into music, from country and western. So she wasn't so much into rock. My stepdad was more into rock, so he's more into Tina Turner's and his who else was he into? Tina Turner and a little bit of David. I've been looking for freedom. Yeah, all of that. It's a mixture. So that's why I think my personality is so eclectic, and I don't really have any boundaries. And if it's good, it's good. If I like it, I like it. So so I was 5 years old when I knew there was something evoked in me, something that sparked in me, saying this is something that I want to do. Then I started watching a bunch of I started watching things like Fame, and I see all these musicals. So one of my favorite ones was The Unthinkable Molly Brown. Do you know one? Mm-hmm. Oh my God! I remember like all these. What's the other one? Is it the Carousel? There's Carousel. There's Can't Help Loving That Man of Mine from Can't Help Loving That Man of Mine. That's called Carousel actually. Because I remember watching all these musicals, and I've seen all these big epic films like Gone with the Wind and like Color Purple. So all these different things would just kind of just call me into the art. So I just found myself watching things for hours and just being like mesmerized by these people that could perform and dance and think, oh my God, Sammy Davis Jr., the Rat Pack, all those things. There were so many things that literally just gravitate me towards the art. So when I went back to, I was living in Germany until I was 11, but then I went to boarding school in England, and then but I was still living in Germany. I was living in Germany until I was 18. But I went to boarding school when I was 11, but I was still living in Germany. But I would go back home. I'm confusing myself. I went to boarding school in England when I was 11, but I would go back to Germany to come home for the holidays. And I really wanted to sing, and the only way that I could sing in boarding school was to have classical training. So I had to get an opera teacher to teach me how to sing.
Wow.
So I was 15 when I had my first singing lesson when I was 15. Because I just knew I really wanted to sing. I mean, I took music for one of my subjects in school, and I joined the choir and stuff like that. But then I really knew that I really wanted to take it seriously, so I ended up having singing lessons. And it's one of the best things that I ever did, because it set up the foundation of my, when you have to sing from your diaphragm, so you're not singing from your throat, and you're really protecting your voice, and you know how to. And obviously your pronunciations and stuff like that. But I remember my teacher at the time just being like so unimpressed with me wanting to sing all this secular. Why do you sing all this secular music? You're such a great opera singer. You'd be amazing singing all these arias. I was like, I could do it, but it just wasn't me. It just wasn't my. I thought that was
not where your heart is.
Yeah, but I did love being able to. Like, it was amazing to see what was coming out of my body. I was like, wow, I can do this with my voice. And all the techniques she would teach me, you put your tongue down, and just the way she just taught me different things about how to sing. And I think it's literally stayed with me ever since that. So when I go into the studio, I know how to switch it around and, just to do things because of that training.
It's interesting. Nothing is ever wasted, right? So it's just like, even though you're thinking, man, I don't want to sing opera, but it's just like all these different tips and techniques that you're taking on help you down the road. Absolutely. So cool.
Because even when you think about the terminologies of, crescendo, diminuendo, staccato, legato, like when they say telling you how to, to perform it, it's giving you instructions of how they want you to perform. But if you're just an artist now in the studio and you go in to write a song, you're not sitting there thinking about legato, staccato, or you're just trying to sing the song like your favorite singer or whatever else. But if I'm talking about classical, there is a guidance, there's a direction, but there's still a fluidity, but there's a guidance there, kind of telling you how. And I guess this is why when you go to see any kind of operas or any classical, shows, why you can see someone playing, but it still has the same essence of what the original was. You can't, because it's been given to you in that kind of formula, I guess, but still interpreted through different types of performance. And I feel like I've been able to integrate that into my as she would say, secular. When it comes to my R&B, my soul, my hip hop, whatever I do, I have those rules, I have that formula there, but I didn't made it mine. And I think when I came back to England, and then obviously when I went to boarding school, and I had the lessons. I left boarding school and I ended up going to this performing arts school for 1 year called Italia Conti. And I realised it wasn't for me. Like, it was great, but it wasn't for me because I felt like, again, it felt a bit limiting. Even though it was great, but it felt like and we had school and stuff, but like when it came to like becoming like being an artist, being creative, it felt too. There were too many rules of what not to do and what you shouldn't do and what you should look like and what you should sound like. And I realised, like, as much as I get that, I still wanted to find my own path. So I went there for a year and then left there. Went to a college to study music. Was literally just getting drunk and high every day. So,
as one does in college.
At that time. But just knowing that I had to do something to kind of, maybe further my education in regards to music. But again, it just didn't stay there. I mean, I passed that. I passed with distinction. I don't know how, because I don't remember any of the classes. But I passed with distinction. Also, one of us did. I don't know how we did, but maybe because we showed up and we showed initiative. I don't know why, but
maybe it's because you were always smiling during every lesson. Maybe.
Yeah, and you know what? And the thing is, we put an energy to the university, to the college, because every time people would see us in the corridor, we'd always be singing. And I think we would inspire other people to come and join our classes because they could see how much fun we were having. So maybe we might have been a positive add to the curriculum because it's just the way our energies were, but not the work in regards to the work, no. But it was great. But that was another great experience. And obviously having to be disciplined to go to college every day and making sure that you're there, whatever time, even though you're not paying attention in class, but just being there. And I left there after that. Then started joining choirs again. Doing shows. Then I was 18. When I was 18, when I came back to live here properly, my real father, my biological father, passed away, and I started. Yeah, I didn't really know him that well. Like, we were. It's my dad, obviously, and I love him, but I was more connected to my stepdad because that's who kind of raised me from the age of 4 until I was 18. So, but then when I went to I sang his funeral and I sang "I Will Always Love You," and by that point, my sister, who's of the same, we've got the same dad, but we've got different moms. She used to always force me to sing. Anywhere I went, she used to force me to sing at the top of the bus. If I'm in the queue in the supermarket, she'd be like, "Sing Whitney Houston song, sing it now, louder." And I'm like, in front of a bunch of people, and if they shout, and I said, "Shout!" By the way, was it too late?
You be you, free to be you.
Yeah, they're like, "Shut the fuck up!" Or I'll be like, "Oh my God, what's crazy?" So I kind of got used to then being just being brave, just going there anywhere and just performing on cue. Because my sister's like, "No, now, okay, do it right now, do it now, go for it, sing this song, hit that note, you better hit that note. So I remember just doing all of that, and this is leading me up before I sang at my dad's funeral. So when I sang a song like Whitney Houston's "I Will Always Love You," which is obviously Dolly Parton's originally, but by the time Whitney Houston did obviously The Bodyguard, it was like, it became Whitney Houston's song, didn't it, by that point?
Yeah, absolutely.
I know, it's so weird, isn't it, when you think someone's written a song, it was their song before, when someone, like, they cover it, it's like, wow. So I remember singing that. And when I think about it now, like, if you ask me to sing that now, I'm like, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not fucking tackling in that. Like, that's like a mountain. Because before you become the artist that you want to become, I was trying to be Whitney Houston, I was trying to be Lauryn Hill, I was trying to be Dionne Warwick. I wanted to be all these different people. So I would listen to all these different singers and emulate them to the T. And I remember even hearing this record by Shaka Khan. She did a version of My Funny Valentine, and I would sing it note for note. I knew exactly how to perform because of the classical training of knowing how to follow guidance and perform. So when I sang that at my dad's funeral, and I remember everybody crying. And when I finished performing, I started crying, not because obviously I was sad, because I was just one of the people. I'm an empath, so when anyone, I feel everything that everyone's feeling all the time. So I started crying because everyone else was crying. But when I thought back after what happened, I was like, "Yo, you just sang Whitney Houston," and I remember singing it note for note, doing it exactly how I wanted it to come across. And then the response, I saw it from the room. Everyone in the room was like, "What the actual hell just happened there? Like, what the hell? She's got something." And I remember it like it was yesterday. And that was the day when I found my first manager, because his girlfriend was there, but he wasn't. And she said to him, "Yo, you need to meet this girl. She's my friend's daughter, and you need to take her under your wing. You need to meet her, and you need to do something with her." So I ended up having a meeting with him. And then that's how I got my first management deal. And that's when I kind of got entered into the music industry, into the professional side of the music industry, properly, because he introduced me to people like from Soul to Soul to Young Disciples, and then, apparently nothing, like all those. I worked with those people. I worked with people like Omar. There's nothing like this. All those. I worked with all these amazing people. I ended up getting this contract. Well, I didn't get signed, but I ended up getting this gig with this group called Shags and Bigfoot, who had a number one at the time, a song called Sweet Like Chocolate. I ended up doing the whole album with them when I was about 18, and we ended up getting like a number 12 on the charts, and I went to Top of the Pops.
That's amazing. At the age of 18.
At the age of 18, but I didn't. But there's other times I just wanted to sing, so I'm not seeing myself as a songwriter or even someone that has anything to say. I just see myself as a performer and as an interpreter. I knew how to. If you gave me the song, I could absorb it. If I knew how to figure it out, then I'd perform it and I would literally nail it, because I wouldn't stop rehearsing until I got it to the T. But then obviously the more I started to obviously evolve and becoming more into the industry, because remember, I didn't get into the industry knowing anything about the music industry, about contracts or how people. Remember, when you're younger, you just see your favorite artist. You're not thinking of how they got there, who's pulling any strings behind closed doors, who wrote any. You thought that they've written everything. You thought this is all them. So
yeah.
And at the time, I didn't realize how much of that I actually had in me as a writer or even as a performer. How much, how focused and how driven I was myself. I didn't realize that about myself. I just always thought, oh, I just go wherever anyone tells me to go, as long as it makes sense. I was very much. I was like, you feel kind of still now.
No, but it's so fun. Like no 18-year-old thinks about the business part of the music business. It's just it's all about the music. It's just and I guess that's just life, right? That's just like you're new. It's like you're a new flower that's just opened up, basically, and you're not thinking of all the other things. It's just like that comes much later. But even though it's so important to know, it's important if you can surround yourself with people that are good people that know about the business side of things.
Yes, and I think I was really lucky to have that, because when I think about it. Now, the times that we're in now, when you think about, they're so, like, kids are out there, they're entrepreneurs because they're so aware of what happened before. So they seem to know so much more than I did, than most of us did back then. And you're right, that's exactly what it was. And I think at the time, in my family, I was the only one that was doing music. So a lot of the people outside that were kind of helping me and, shaping me and were people that weren't, that weren't for my family, but saw my potential and were like successful people that have done this before, but they saw something in me. And I don't think what would usually happen is every time someone would take you under their wing, they kind of felt like they had a bit of ownership over you. But what they had to realize was the family that I come from, we're very strong-minded. We've got our own minds. Like no one can really tell us what to do unless we want to do something. So, and obviously we're always humble, always respectful, but no one owns me. No one kind of tells me what to do, kind of thing. Yeah. So I would learn things, and in the moment it didn't feel right, I would leave whatever happened, what I did there behind, and they could have it. Like whatever project I did then, if it didn't work out for me, didn't make me evolve, I would just leave it there and start again. And this is what I was saying. I've been saying this in my this hashtag that I do on my post, and I say keep trusting the process of your purpose, because that's something that I've learned throughout my years and my journey is that I'm not afraid to start again, because I know now, especially now that I'm a creative, I don't care as we just say, I don't care what I look like, what I sound like at this point. And because when I started out, that's what it was like. I didn't stop until I could, even though I couldn't hear the note, but I knew that I was going to get it if I kept practicing. And because of that training at the beginning, without even anyone telling me, it's carried throughout my whole of my life since that, So, and I think that's what happened then. It's like that I ended up getting all these situations happening because people didn't understand that about me. They just thought, oh, she doesn't realize what's going on. She needs some guidance, needs some help. And really and truly, I might have needed guidance for that few little seconds, but once I got it, I kind of knew what I was doing. And I guess it must be the same when I'm thinking about you and Rob, you and Greg. You and Greg. I don't know, you and Greg, because when you guys play it, I think the way you feel music is quite similar to the way I probably feel. You hear something, and then the reason probably why you can work with all these different people, and you can. It's not like we're chameleons, but we can adapt because we love this shit. This is what we do. It's not about looking cool or being cool.
But like you said, like you had so much experience listening to all different types of music and getting involved in it. You didn't just focus on one thing. You have such a wealth of knowledge in all these different styles. And so you can easily jump from one style to the other because you spent your whole life listening to it and really understanding it and dissecting it.
But the funny thing is, at the time, I didn't realize that I was, because if someone told me to write a thesis on something, brainstorm, I'm like, what? Thesis? Tell me to do it, and I could do it for you. And that's what I realized. I think what life had to do to me and make me experience is that everything that you've learned by yourself, now you need to know how to explain it and show people how, because sometimes obviously people think it's just a fluke. I wish I would understand why people would think that, because I know I'm going to figure it out, but you don't know that I'm going to figure it out on paper because it just looks like I'm just doing a bunch of madness all over the place. What you doing to do that? But I know there's a method to my madness because I know that's how I get to where I get to. But if someone doesn't know that, and I think that's why so long it's taken so long for me to be in control of my own narrative, because a lot of people didn't think that I knew what I was doing, and I'm always honest about, I didn't. I was figuring it out. Hence why my first album that I got signed with, the Def Jam, I called it Untitled on purpose.
Man, you just skipped past a whole section. How did you get signed to Def Jam? How did that?
Oh my God, it's such a, because this way you can talk to me because I feel like I'm just rambling.
But that's such a huge thing. Like how many people would love to be signed to Def Jam and you achieved that and just like, how does that happen?
Okay, so what happened is, so after we sing at my dad's funeral, we go through different, doing different projects with different people like Shanks and Bigfoot, getting a number 12 and then doing like a little garage record. That I didn't even realize I was doing. I thought I was just making music. I didn't know what garage or what house or, so to me, music is just music. So, but then it was a time when I was at this management, my first management, and I loved them so dearly. Like I really appreciate them. But it was a point where they just didn't know what to do with me. And again, because I knew it wasn't right, but I couldn't articulate it. So I just kept myself in the place where I was like, you know what, I have to follow my gut. So I kind of decided, it's funny, I met them because I had a session with someone in London. They were from LA. And I remember I stayed somewhere and I can't remember what the hell it was. Santa Monica. Anyway, so I ended up meeting a person that we wrote in the studio in London. And then he said to me, yo, if you're ever in LA, come and see me, man. Come and hang out. I was like, okay, cool. So there was this point where I just didn't want to be around the people that were kind of looking after because they didn't know what to do and I didn't know what I was doing. So I said to my mum, I need to get away. And I was going to go away for a week. I said, okay, I just booked a ticket to go to LA. Said I'm going to go visit this person now. I booked this like motel. I think it was Santa Monica. Is it Santa Monica? Is that Santa Monica? It's not Santa. What is the area where it's quite artistic in LA?
There's so many.
There's so many in it. That was such a dumb thing to say.
Marina Del Rey or Venice or Venice. It was Venice.
It was Venice. I booked the place, a motel. I could have got killed. Okay, we got married by myself. I must have been about, because I was here. So I must have been about 19, 20. And I thought to myself, I need to get away for a week just to clear my head. I didn't tell anyone except my mum and my sister knew who I was. Nobody else knew who I was. So when I was going for this week, they were calling me, where's Terri? Is she okay? What's happened to her? And my mum was like, no, she's fine, but she just needs a minute. I ended up going out there for a week, ended up hanging out with that guy that, I did the studio session with. I can't remember his name though for the life of me.
It's going to come back to you as soon as we hang up.
Yeah, I know, but I ended up being there for like a few days. We did some music. Because, come and visit my brother and my sister-in-law. They've got a studio up in they lived in Riverside. It's more like in the desert area.
Yeah.
In LA. Yeah. So it was like a 2-3 hour drive to drive there. I remember thinking this is a bloody long drive to get there. So
you stayed in Venice to go to the studio in Riverside.
So I stayed in Venice at first, and the guy was in Venice Beach because that's why I booked it there because he was there. But then he told me to come and visit his brother, who was also the producer.
Gotcha.
That's the studio in their house in Riverside. Okay, come on then. They end up going down there, end up staying in LA for a month. and I wasn't meant to be there for that long. I was only meant to be there for a week, but obviously I got on so with them, started vibing and creating. It was like I just kept extending my ticket. And back then,
did you eventually have to fess up to everybody and say where you were? All the people
after the week, I think I had to tell people yes, please every day, yes. And I'm coming back when I come back. But I remember at the time there used to be this thing called Western Union. Do you remember when people send money through Western Union?
Yeah,
and I needed money. My mom was like, Mom, I need some money, but I don't know how to get this money sent to me. So I just had to get to Western Union to kind of extend my ticket and all that kind of stuff. So, but the songs that I recorded, I was in LA in that time, which is about, because when I got signed in 2001, So must have been like 2000 or 1999. I recorded this song called Loveful, a song called Brand New Day, and a song called Ching Ching. And those three songs are the songs that got me signed to Def Jam. So I came back to England. I know. So this is let me tell you something. Every time I trust my gut, every time I say it's time for me to go, I don't know what it is, but I've got to move. Something crazy and life changing happens to me every time without fail. So I always know that's why I don't fear it. Every time it's time for me to go, but I don't know what to do or how to do it. That's the universe telling me it's time for you to push yourself out of your comfort zone. You got to go somewhere else.
I love that. I love that. How did the music get into Def Jam's hands?
So what happened is I came back to England, and obviously I wasn't with that management company anymore, which I love daily. But then I started, just going around studios, playing people what I've done and stuff. No, actually I didn't even get the songs yet. I hadn't had the songs. I had to wait for the producer to send me the music when it was ready. So I knew what they sounded like when I was there in LA. But back then it wasn't so easy to transfer music.
Believe me, I remember. Yes.
Yeah, it was quite. Yeah, I think it wasn't a CD. Like even sending a file, I think you had to wait for a CD to be sent to you.
Yeah, because MP3s weren't even around really at that point.
Yeah. So it was easier to be able to click on something and play something. So I made the music and I didn't hear it for maybe like a month or two after I heard it. But when I did hear it, I was like, "Hell, what the fuck? Is that what I did?" And I remember when I recorded Loveful, for instance, Loveful, I wrote that song on the toilet. It started out with me sitting on the toilet going, these things would just happen to me. I'm like, yo, I've got this idea for the song.
I always tell everybody the best ideas come from when you're sitting on the toilet. It always happens. I call it nature's vacuum. When something's leaving you, something else is coming into your brain.
I like that. I need to get a t-shirt.
Yeah, nature's vacuum.
I say that. Listen, make that t-shirt. I'm wearing that right here.
Have my face in the lower corner, just like with a thought bubble coming out. Yeah.
Listen, to make it busy. That is a brilliant. I love that.
It's going to sell as much as the Happy Face shirt did. It's going to sell like crazy. We're going to make millions.
Let me tell you something, Rob. It's the truth. There's a lot of people that have ideas in the toilet. I don't care what anyone says. It's the one. So I come back. I did the song on the toilet, and then I remember even like freestyling in the middle. It's one of the ones where the session went that song went so quick, and it's one of the ones and that was the first time I heard my voice, and I thought, yo, this is what Terri Walker sounds. This is who Terri Walker is. This is her voice. This is the sound. This is what she wants to talk about. This is who she is. She's unapologetic. She doesn't care what anyone thinks. And because the song is called "I'm Not Your Loveful," basically, and then that's the song that ended up getting heard by my next manager. He then was like, yo, this shit's dope. Like he started because he was looking after this other artist called Daniel DeBorg at the time. He was signed to DreamWorks, who Songwriter and those people were signed to at the same time. He was already in meetings with a lot of these big rigs already. So he's like, yo, I'm gonna have a couple of meetings. Do you mind if I take your songs and play them to some people? So he took those three songs, which was Loveful, Ching Ching, and Brand New Day, and the interest was Elektra. Sylvia Rome from Elektra was interested. You had Magic Johnson's label wanted to sign me as well, and then Def Jam in the States. And so it was like pretty innocent, like, yo, when can we meet her? But obviously at the time, 9/11 had happened. So I was going to go meet Def Jam in New York, but 9/11 happened, and it was literally 2 days before we were about to fly out.
No.
And so I couldn't fly out. But, and it was such a tragedy, obviously. But at the time, because I knew, obviously, it didn't mean I was going to get signed. Just at that time, it wasn't a time for me to go out there to meet them then. And obviously, the world was a standstill, and you couldn't think about yourself. And it would be selfish to think about yourself when there's so many people, especially in New York. Life was just literally about to be crazy. That
of course.
In the middle of New York. So what happened is that even though we didn't have that meeting, someone from the office said, yo, we've actually got a London branch now. We've got a guy called Jaha Johnson who's over there, and he's literally setting up the UK branch of Def Jam. So go and have a meeting with him and see what he says. So we have a meeting with him, and he's like, yo, because he's from the States, like, I can't believe y'all didn't come and see me. Y'all knew I was there. Y'all didn't come and see me. What you mean? I don't believe what you mean. Y'all crazy, right? He literally signed me on the spot, basically. But but when I came back to England, I had a bidding war between Island, Dark as an Island, and Def Jam. And Island actually offered me more money, but because of the history of Def, as you said, the history of Def Jam, I didn't really understand the history of Island. Again, young, not thinking about history and business and who was signed where and who did what for who. I'm just like, Def Jam is cool, it's hip hop, it's that. Yeah, I want to be down with Def Jam. So I signed with Def Jam. But I think, and people always say, oh, if in hindsight, would you have made a different decision? And there were times in my life where I thought, oh, maybe I would have signed to Ireland. They offered me money. They really believed in my. Everything happens for a reason. Because me signing to them at the time was the first UK female that was signed to Def Jam in this decade.
So cool. Amazing.
Yeah.
Congratulations on that. That's great.
Thank you. And and again, I didn't know what it meant. I knew what it meant to be signed to Def Jam. Like, yo, I'm signed to Def Jam. Huh? But to be the first female in the UK, and even just to have Most Def on my record, and then for it to be produced by people like Warren Campbell, who did Mary Mary, and I had like people that had musicians on there like Peter Palladino, who's obviously Zandy Andrew. Like all these things were happening that I didn't know. Like for instance, I was in a studio, the song with me and Most Def. I was with a boyfriend on holiday at the time. They were like, "Yo, Most wants to record the record, but we need you to fly to New York." To record it. And I was like, I'm on holiday with my boyfriend. I'm not going anywhere. Please, you can do another time. Am I okay? Am I okay? I said, no. I'm like, nah. And then I ended up breaking up with the guy anyway. He cheated on me. But at the time, I'm like, no, I'm fine. But the most was fine. If I saw Most, people say to me, you know what, that's one of my favorite features. I'm like, yeah, right. That's what you say to everybody. You're like, no.
But you missed the recording session with Most Def because of... Oh, no.
Because I was on holiday in Spain with this guy anyway at the time, and I was like, no, and me and the guy were kind of going through like really weird relationship situation. It was one of those holidays where we were trying to patch things up, but the universe was trying to tell me something. Like I'm like, no, I'm gonna stay on holiday. I'm not gonna like fly back to the club. Nothing. Nah.
If you could only get that moment back, but it is what it is.
I know, but then the thing is, at the same time, I love it about me because it makes me know that I am someone who sticks to, because I didn't regret, only because everyone else would go, oh my God, you're so dumb, like, to do that. But at the time, I went with my gut, I went with my heart, and I went with what felt right for me. And even though it did end up, it was a lesson that I had to learn. And something in that relationship the whole time something in that relationship didn't feel right. It started off all like lovely-dovey, but then something, I remember when it switched and it wasn't right, but I kept trying to hold on to this thing that I knew wasn't right, but I couldn't explain why I was. And then I became a little bit neurotic, like a little bit possessive as well, because when you're young, you don't understand. But why is this not working? What's going on here? And I had to learn that a few times throughout my journey. The moment I feel something doesn't feel right, there's a reason why it doesn't feel right.
But you know what's kind of cool about this, though, is that, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're more of a storyteller, right? And you are more of an artist, and you're not really into the technical side of things. So in actual fact, like you being there on holiday, trying to patch things up with your boyfriend, who eventually it didn't work, it's almost like you were on a fact gathering mission, like you're learning about the human condition. You're learning about life. You're learning about relationships, which in turn you're then going to write about. You're going to put into your music, which is probably like the most important part of what it is that you do, rather than you sitting back and watching an engineer record somebody else, even though, yes, it's going to be part of your record, and it would have been a great experience to do that. But this ended up being probably way worth more than you flying to New York and watching that session happen,
Well, we see see that right there? See that right there? This is the reason why right now.
This is why I get paid no bucks. This is why I get...
No, you will after discussion. You're going to get paid one of them. But we don't do it for that. We get paid for other things. And a life, we're so rich in your family and everything else. And I think we realise that. And I think that's exactly what it is. And just when I say to people, trust the process of your purpose, it's become a term that I've been saying. And I don't know, now, literally, if I write posts, it's always part of my hashtag. No filter, and then in my love story. These are my few filters now that I always have my hashtags to describe why I do what I do. Because for so long, I was trying to, and sometimes I wouldn't understand why I'm doing certain things. Like, this is gonna end. Why are you doing this? But like, I feel like my spirit on my journey had to experience it. For me, as you said, to be able to write about it. So when I say, don't go down that road, it's because I've been there. Not to say it to you, just don't go down that road. I'm like, I've been there. I've told you what happens when you keep doing the same thing over and over again. This is what's going to keep happening. I'm telling you from experience. I'm not telling you what to do. One of the reasons why I'm a big Lauryn Hill fan is because when she says, Lauren is only human, they'll think I haven't been through the same predicament. It's the reason why I have respect for her, because she's not telling me, she's not preaching at me. She's not on her eye hole telling me, oh, I wouldn't do that, so I wouldn't do this. Like, I've been that person. I've been the person that's cheated and that's cheated, or that's lied and or that's, what she wasn't this. When I woke up and I saw myself, now I realised, even though I'm not judging you, when you get there, just know. And that's one of the reasons that album for me one of the best albums for a female, especially for a black female to hear and see herself, because I saw myself 100% when I heard Lauren, and I saw Lauren, especially after the second album, and she decided to be like, you know what, this industry ain't for me, and she didn't care what anyone thought. You know, everyone's judging her, whatever she said, she had to do her. And you know, and it is one of those things about but when you think about any of our greats, you need to think about Prince, when you think about even, you know, Prince, when you think about George Michael, there's so many of them that passed, and even Rachel, I wish I'd met. I'm so pissed that I never get to meet these people, because I would have loved to have a conversation to find out exactly where their heads were at in certain moments in their life, because there's certain conversations that they're going to have that people are going to interview them, but they're not going to ask them about those intimate moments when they were by themselves, making certain decisions that only they will understand, that only you will know why you did what you did. Because in your mind, you're like, you know what? If people ain't going to get it now, but I know they're going to get it. And there's so many things that I do that I know people, they're not going to get now by just seeing it, but I know that in 10 years' time, they're going to get it. Only because I've been there now, and now I understand why Nina Simone would say things she says in songs, why Marvin Gaye had to sing, you know, had to make all those other records, but then made What's Going On. And he didn't care how he ended up. Like, a lot of those people, by the end stages of their careers, did not give a fuck what people thought about them. They had to get the message out. They didn't care, because they were prepared to die for this shit. And it's like, it's interesting. I'm not saying I'm sitting here want to die for nothing, but I do get why it was so important for them to not lose who they were at the end, even though they might have made the mistakes before that got them into the situation in the first place, you know?
But all of those artists that you just mentioned, they're all writing from such a place of heart and truth, yes. and really just caring about that. Like, just here's my experience. Here's how it can relate to the listener as they listen to this. Yeah. You know, like, I've gone through some real stuff. I've gone through some real situations. I've gone through darkness. I've gone through great times, bad times, all of that. But I'm going to write about it all. It's not just going to be about, oh, isn't the world a great place? It's like, here's all the stuff that can happen in the world. And hopefully when you listen to this, you can relate to it as well. And that's what you're doing with your music, is that you're putting your heart and soul and your experiences, your personal experiences, into your music, but you're not writing it in such a way that nobody gets it. You're writing it so that people can listen to it and think, wow, that's my story too. I've been through that. And that's how success happens. That's how you get people buying your music. That's how you get people constantly returning to your music, because they feel like through your story, you've written their story. And that's the important stuff. And so your fact gathering mission of being on that holiday is just, it's the way forward for sure. Just write about what you know.
No, you are so right. It's so, even if the more, and it's only recently, especially, have I realized how much my music's really. I know some things people, oh, I loved you, were the first one I thought this. But recently, this album, the past, like, this interview now, because I said to a woman before, this is my best interview. I'm gonna have to literally throw off the manual, like, this is my best interview now. Because every interview that I've been having, it's been saying things back to me that I've been trying to say, but I couldn't articulate back then. But now my music articulated it the way that I needed it to be articulated, because I kept trusting that the music will, even though physically you won't see me connecting, like my physical side connecting, but you'll see my spiritual side. You'll hear me, because you'll hear and see me because you'll feel my spirit. And I think that's what's been happening with me, especially recently, where I understand that I'm not trying to be the next. I'm trying to be the next me, and I think that's who those people were. And as you said, that T-shirt, be free to be yourself, be free to be me.
As you sit on the toilet.
I'm not your love I'm like, oh, yeah, that's it. This is great. But I love it. Some people like stop telling that story. I'm like, what is the truth? Another thing about, you know, being a black woman, we have to be strong. We have to work hard. We've got to be tougher. We've got to be. And I'm like, I grew up in Germany, and I saw how black women were seen differently from a whole different view from a viewpoint in the world that is like predominantly white, and there wasn't so many black people there. And I saw how they looked up to people like Whoopi Goldberg and, you know, Aretha Franklin or Whitney Houston. And then I come back to England, and there's like a diaspora of, you know, Caribbean, African, so we have our own little hubble thing. So we still have our own, yes, we're here in England, but we have our own community where we can go back to, where there's all these rules. But in Germany, there was no rules. Like, if you were dope, you were dope. If you weren't, you weren't. And people gravitated to you and connected with you if you tried, you made the effort to understand them. While sometimes when you're in the places of where everyone's very, very sectional and segregated, and you just want to or I'm Jamaican, or I'm African, or I'm Jewish, or I'm, Yugoslavian, or whatever else. We don't connect with each other. We're just, and I didn't come from that when I grew up in Germany. I came from a place of, yes, I'm black and I'm Jamaican, but I'm in a place of where it felt like America a little bit. This is so weird to say about Germany, because people are like, oh, but Germany, the first thing people always say to me, oh, Hitler, weren't they racist? I'm like, Germany was one of the most welcoming, eye-opening experience for me. And I don't know, maybe for someone else it wasn't, but I think because I was so young and I learned to speak the language from because when you're a child, you pick up things so quickly. So I literally spoke German within like a month. I spoke fluent German.
Do you still speak German?
Ja, ich spreche noch fließend Deutsch noch, ja?
Wow, there it is. There it is. I took 2 years of German in high school and I don't remember a single word. Terrible.
Yeah, do you know what people say to me? It's quite hard. I didn't realize how hard it was. They said it's quite a hard language to learn. I didn't. In my mind, because when you learn it, you don't think that.
Certain aspects are very close to English, but then it's just like there's all these different rules, and it's. Yes. I love how they put all these words together in order to describe something like science, for example, is a great word if you in German, because it's such a long. It's something like nature and this put together. Do you know the word for science? Or like even sex is a great one in German. There's like, it just look up both these words and they're like super long words.
No, because in German, because where I grew up in Germany, because I grew up from Bavaria, a lot of the English, they use a lot of English, like sex would be sex or the bumsen. Or the,
okay.
Or so there's different dialects and there's different parts of Germany. So there's old Germany, there's new Germany, but I grew up in the second oldest town in Germany, but it's Bavaria. And Bavarians are very much, they're like the Cockneys of England, or they're like the Jamaicans.
Gotcha.
They've got a certain type of twang and dialect with them, but they use a lot of English words to describe things.
There's a great video that I got to send you. It's basically somebody saying a word in English, and then another person says it in Portuguese, and then somebody says it in German, and it's really good. Just like how it's like hospital. Somebody says hospital, and then it's in Portuguese, but then in German it's like Krankenhausen or something like that. Yeah, and then Krankenwagen for like ambulance, and great words.
But the thing is, though, they always make it out like German sounds like harsh. I think that sounds good. German doesn't sound as harsh as they do. Because when I speak to someone in German, I was wenn ich jetzt mit dir auf Deutsch spreche, wie hört sich nicht schlecht aus, ne? Die hört sich nicht so harsh an, ne? See? It doesn't sound harsh, does it?
No, not at all. It's just when they portray it in social media, they definitely put on this harsh voice.
Yeah, I said, you guys, that's propaganda right there. That's a stereotype, because it's not true. Because I grew up there, I'm like, Germany doesn't sound like that. No, I don't know what.
I know it's like when people describe Canadians, it's like, everyone must say oot and a boot and a after everything, and it's like, I don't know anybody that speaks like that.
But Canadians, you're like the coolest. Remember, you got Drake, you got Justin Bieber,
we got Shawn Mendes, we got The Weeknd, we got all these other people.
You got you.
We got me.
Greg.
I mean, come on, just stop at me right there. That's it.
But you know what though, Canada, when I went there, like it was such a beautiful. Like, there is a sense of a lot of happiness though. Like, what is it about Canada? Why is it like that?
There's one of my favorite jokes is, how do you get 1,000 Canadians out of a swimming pool?
How do you get 1,000 Canadians out of a swimming pool?
The answer is, you simply ask, would everyone please get out of the pool? But it's just, I can show you some not very nice Canadians, but I think by and large we're all pretty happy people. You know?
Are. Yeah. Even from the beginning, you're always smiling, and I can't imagine you not being in a good mood. I mean, we're human, of course we do. We have those moments, but I think you'll find the good in everything in it. And as you said, you find the joke in everything. So I'm quite similar in that way. So I thought maybe I'm Canadian.
Well, I tell you, like, it's a beautiful place to live. And our healthcare situation is also fantastic. You know, like, whereas right. Like you go to America and you get sick. It's scary, you know, whereas in Canada, I can be in the hospital for my whole life and nobody has to, you know, go broke at all trying to afford this, much like England, much like many other Western countries. But it's, you know, there's a lot of happiness here because we're taxed heavily for that. But it means that life is a little bit easier for everybody, whether you're rich or you're poor.
Because I remember one time I got a burn actually here in New York. The light burnt me when I was in the street. Actually, when I was hanging out with Dame Dash in the studio. I was part of this DD172. That's a whole other side, but I've left so much parts out. But I remember getting burned, and I had to go to the hospital. I remember sitting there for ages. I waited for maybe like an hour. They gave me a cream to just put on hair. They charged me $600, but I still haven't paid that bill now. So if they're looking for me,
have you been back to America since?
No. I've been back since, but I've never I paid the bill, so I've got insurance.
I have a friend who went to hospital for 3 weeks for a mystery illness, and they never figured out what it was. And he received a bill for over $100,000 US for 3 weeks. Yeah. Crazy. I know. We're getting way off topic though. So
Got rein
you in. I know. So you get signed to Def Jam, and you release this first record, which is called Untitled, in 2003. Yeah. And it's so critically acclaimed. What was that experience like when the record comes out and you start getting all these reviews coming in about your music, about things that are affecting people? It must have been amazing.
Again, but remember at the time, I'm always trying to sing other people's songs. So this is the first time I'm seen as an artist myself that's actually got a record out. So, and I only realized what it really meant after we've been nominated for the American Music Prize, which is one of my favorite award shows, to be honest, because everyone gets nominated, and even though one person wins the prize, everyone still gets an award. But those 12 albums are the albums that everyone's chosen. So to me, you still feel like you've won. But obviously, because my year it was Dizzy Rascal that won it. But people it was a bit Coldplay were nominated that year.
Wow.
I had Darkness was, I think that year, Floki was nominated that year. It was, I think, Coldplay. Actually, let me get that. Don't quote me on that one, because it might not be put on Coldplay. But it was a lot of big names. There was a band called Athlete. But now in hindsight, looking back, seeing my name amongst all of those amazing albums and artists, now I understand the magnitude of what it meant. Back then, I didn't even know what the fuck the American Music Prize was. I didn't even know that I was even entered into being nominated for it. Even the Mobos, I was nominated for 4 Mobo Awards that year as well, and Beyonce was nominated for 4 that year because Crazy in Love came out. And to be honest, and one of the reasons why I'm not so bothered about because of that experience, because I saw Beyonce that year. As everyone knows, Crazy in Love, she cleaned up the world. There was you must have been living under a rock if you didn't know Beyonce, and that album was amazing. So I remember she didn't win any of the awards because she didn't come to the award show, which to me is doesn't matter if she didn't come. She won that shit, as far as I'm concerned. So, and I was nominated for 4 nominations as well. And I thought, this doesn't make sense. So what's the point of being nominated? And then just because they give it to someone else, that's because they turned up. This is not real. So one of the reasons why the American Music Prize is still my favorite ones out of all of them is because I feel like no matter what, the person that is supposed to get it is going to get it. Do you know what I mean? It's not about who's cool, who's paying for what or whatever. So, and that's why I think ever since that, I think when I left my major label after my second album, they tried to turn me into this Beyonce version of myself, which you can see I'm nothing. She's amazing, but I'm not Beyonce. And I thought from that day on, I thought, you know what, I want to be independent, and no matter how long it takes me to get back to where I was the first time round, I want people to understand it was a choice. I didn't get dropped. People thought I got dropped. I told them to let me go after the second album didn't do the way it's supposed to do, because I had a meeting with Jason Eiley, who was the MD at the time, and he's like, what happened to Terri Walker? And I was like, I don't know, just let me go. Please, just let me go. And he was like, so that's why a lot of those albums, people, don't you own? I don't care, but I'm a musician, I'm a creative. I need to mean, because sometimes when you're trying to hold on to all this music, you won't get heard. So because I don't own it, people are still playing it, and people can still buy it, because every time I do something, let's put out Terry's album again. It's great because it drives it back to me. So this album now I own under my label, Wings of a Hummingbird Records, which goes through to Believe Digital, but it's all mine. It's like I've chosen the artwork, I've chosen the producers, I've chosen my PR team, I've chosen my radio plugger, I've chosen how I put it out. I've not done any videos yet because I feel like until it's right, I'm not doing it just because people are pressuring me to do anything, which is what used to happen before. I make a video, it doesn't make sense with anything to do with me. I'm not doing that ever again. So, but look, it's still reaching you, and you're hearing it. So, it's working for me.
But you see that's what happens as you get older, is that the business side really starts to make a lot of sense, right? And when you're younger, you're just thinking, I just want to make the music, and you're not thinking about the business, and then people are going to take advantage of that and start doing business decisions for you that you might not agree with. and all that. So isn't it beautiful when you get to a place where it's like, I'm now going to do what makes me happy. I'm going to do the kind of music that I love to do. I'm going to make my career path exactly how I choose it to be, and not have to report to anyone, and just unapologetically me, free to be me that is the slogan for this whole podcast episode, I think, for sure.
But when you think about it, when we started out, if you had to do a job, if you had to be the student for whatever time, but you still had to go to work and pay your bills, you would do it. You wouldn't complain about it. It's only the moment we get signed and then it's you deserve more. You should be getting this. When we start having this idea of entitlement of, I should be getting this Grammy nomination. But before you didn't know about that, you didn't even know about those things. You just making a record, and the record that got you heard and seen was a record that you made because you wanted to make it because you loved it. And I realized I had to get back to that place of where I had to shut out all that noise of, you should be sad, you should be the next this, or you should be the next that, or that person didn't do right by you. I'm in charge of my narrative. Like, I can't keep blaming everyone else for things that I should know. At this stage in my career, I should know better for, So that's where it's at for me. So yeah, I'm very proud.
I love that. I tell everybody, like, when they want to make music, they're, a lot of people say, well, who's going to like this? Who's going to listen to this? And I said, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. Like, just make the music that you love. Make the music that really speaks to your heart, and be proud of it, and put it out. And don't think, well, it could be so much better. Yes, it could be better. And there is a better version of you that's around the corner that's waiting to come down. But just do the music that really speaks to your heart right now. Create content that you're able to make right now, and then assume that the majority of the world is probably not going to get behind what you're doing. But there will be a small percentage of people that do. And that's all you need. You just need a few people to just like reach out and say, your song, your album, your music is really affecting me. And what they're going to do is they're going to become part of your team, where they then go and tell other people, I just heard this song by this artist and it really affected me and it's great. And you should listen to that too. And then you get this level of, ground roots operation that's going on, that just starts to spread the word. And eventually out of 8 billion people in the world, you get less than 1% of people loving it. That's so many million people that are going to love what it is that you're doing, but you can't think that the majority of the world's going to love what you do. Just assume that the majority of the world is not going to like what you do, as long as you're making music that keeps you happy and you feel satisfied, and that your creative output has been looked after, in the way that you want it to be.
100%. Because, as I said, the reason why you knew what you wanted to do is because something spoke to you, and whatever that is that spoke to you, you've got to keep following that. You can't follow about what everyone else is. Because, as I said, when you picked up the first instrument or decided to write your first song, there was something that drove you to it, and then you didn't stop until you then eventually became your own songwriter. Everyone's like, I want to be like Bob Wells. I want to be like Terri. I started thinking in my head that someone wants to be like me. I'm like, I was wanting to be like everybody else when I first started out. Yeah. And this is the reason why I'm so, because remember, I didn't think, I was goofy, I was awkward, I was just different, I was just following different things. But then when I started to really understand, like, oh my God, like, I am, my voice, I'm not saying I'm special and better than anyone else, but my voice is important and it's valuable. Like, everyone else's voice is valuable and everyone else's, experience is valuable. And I think this is why a lot of people end up getting depressed or don't feel seen, because when people silence them all the time, or don't say that, or don't do this, or you're doing too much of that. Because I know it used to happen to me, like, you're doing to this, God, you're embarrassing. But because I saw how it affected other people around, when every time someone told them not to do something, and then when they'll get to where they are, but they'll still be miserable because they're not doing what they actually want to do. I thought, I'm learning from this, because I'm not trying to, even though you didn't get to follow your dreams in your past, so that's why you're always telling everyone else what they should do, what they can't do. I'm not doing that. I'm like, if that's what you want to do, then that's what you want to do. But don't tell me what I shouldn't. If that's what I feel, you might not get it. I'm going to figure it out, because I know I'm going to figure it out. But there's a lot of people that don't get the opportunity to develop and grow into themselves, because people have, as we said, I've told them the last 2 years, you're black, or no one's going to really, people don't really want to hear black people, or no one really wants to hear, like Beyonce right now with the country western album. People don't want to hear no black woman sing country western. Look, she's number one forever now. It's like, you can't worry about what other people that are not or have experienced what you've experienced, or don't even know what you're capable of. You can't listen to those people, because basically after you've I think at first when you first start out 100% because you're still a kid, you're still learning. But this is where, just depending on the right people, because if you have the wrong people around you, you can obviously then be groomed and indoctrinated, kind of shaped into something that you still don't understand and you have to grow out of yourself. But if you're lucky enough to be around people that literally love you and are there to nurture you and protect you and allow you to grow in your own time, and I think this is what we're here for. This is these kind of conversations. I'm here because I'm lucky to have people like yourself and Nina and my mom. Do you know what I mean? Because you guys you've allowed me to just grow, and you see me. And when I need everyone there, I see people come when I need them. When I don't need them, they're letting me figure it out. I guess that's when it's a baby when they're walking. You have to let them get there by themselves. You can't keep going. You can't keep helping them out because they're not going to end up doing it by themselves. They have to do it by themselves.
Man, anybody that's having a hard time with this whole Beyonce country issue, like, first of all, you have to consider, where's Beyonce from? She's from Texas. She's from Texas. She probably grew up listening to a lot of country and Western music. Whenever I travel to the Caribbean, there are a lot of farming communities in the Caribbean. When I'm on the airplane, there's a lot of people that are wearing farming hats, cowboy hats, things like that, especially when I go to a place like Barbados. And guess what? Everyone's listening to down. There's a lot of country and Western that is being listened to. It's not just reggae, calypso, soca. Like, there's a healthy amount of country and Western. Also, let's talk about some of the best country and Western albums that I've ever heard from Ray Charles. Like, that is just like, he did a couple of records that are just so great. And to just say that, country and Western can only be written and recorded by somebody that looks like a certain way. It's just like, what is going on in this planet? It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. It's just like, we are all human beings. We're all inspired by different things. We all get to listen to things and just, you do you. You release what makes you happy. Always, 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 always. I love that when you were 5, when you were a young kid, you heard somebody sing and you heard it on a recording. It wasn't a live performance. It was a recording. And just instantly you saw your point B right away. Like, you were this young kid and you're just like, that's my direction right there. That's what I wish for everybody. Wake up every day and try to figure out what your point B is every single day. And don't care about what anyone's saying. Like, no, you can't do that point B, or you shouldn't do that point B, or whatever. It's your own point B to decide upon. Nobody else's. As long as it's not hurting anybody, you get up every day and figure out what your point B is and do your damnedest to get to your point B every single day. And you will be so happy in your life that you do this. And if other people come along for the ride with you, if other people believe in your point B and they champion your point B, those are the people that belong on your team, not somebody that says, no, you shouldn't be doing point B. You should be doing this other point. That's a complete 180 from where you're pointing right now. Just surround yourself with people that are so excited to be working with you, that are so happy to be working, that believe fully in your trajectory, in your journey, and do the stuff that makes you happy. That is the secret to success, true success in this world.
And it's funny when you said about, as long as it's not hurting anybody, and that's a very interesting one, because as much as it's not hurt, but sometimes as long as it's not hurting you, not doing it, because sometimes we don't, we have to make some decisions sometimes that's going to disappoint some people, staying in situations or deciding to leave somewhere or whatever else. It's like, but in the long run, you're not making each other happy. This is not making in the long, this is not going to end well. So you have to make certain decisions in your life where you have to keep it moving. I'm sorry. And some people are going to get hurt along the way, but not intentionally. It's more for the better good. And that's why I look at when I wasn't around for a lot of things, I had to literally remove myself from a lot of people that just weren't seeing that they weren't good for me. But I thought, oh no, but me, I'm being selfish because I'm just here roping, and I didn't realize that I was depressed. I actually thought I was just, I was doing a lot of self-sabotage and shit. I'm doing a lot of things, drinking, getting drunk, having sex, just not looking after myself and just out there, just vulnerable. But I realized I was trying out for help in different ways without realizing that a lot of people around weren't hearing me, but not on purpose, because I was always showing up. And as we do, we laugh and joke and everything's fine. But I wasn't happy. And I was trying to make everyone else happy all the time. And when I wasn't happy, I realized that no one was believing me that I'm tasty, because they're used to me laughing and joking all the time, And I think this is what this album has really done for me. My love story is like, I don't need much. When I was saying I'm fearless, you know that I don't need nobody to make me feel the way I should. There is no amount of money to make me change the way I'm good. And he says, because now I'm doing me, now I'm choosing me, I'm guilt free. Everything I be, I'm just being me. Now I see he's got his hands on me, got a plan for me, I can be fearless. And that song, because it's making me cry, and it gets a bit emotional. When I wrote that song, we were about to pack up, and it came out of nowhere. Like literally that song, we wrote that song in about, I swear, about under an hour. Because there was these, there's a reason why there's only 7 songs on my album. It's like, oh, but it's not, the album's not enough. I said exactly what I needed to say in this album. There's nothing else to say. The last song ends with I surrender. And I remember I met my partner now, who I've been with for 2 years, where I literally, I'm subdued around him. Like, he makes me be a woman and makes me want to be, not submissive, but, you know, like, sometimes I hate you, but like, he makes me want to be softer and don't fuck with me, I'm going to be strong. He allows me to be, and this album has done this for me in so many ways where I'm saying, find it over you, starts with find it over you, then I'm not the one, then I remember fearless, into rhythm of change, into I'm not coming home tonight, and then I surrender. It's a story, it's a movie in itself, you know, and I think. And
say what you need to say and get out. Say what you need to say and get out.
Yeah,
and if it's 7 songs, that's fine. If it's 3 songs, that's fine.
There you go. And because of this whole, this is what an album, and everyone's doing Grammy this and Grammy that, and not nominated. I'm like, guys, you guys are worrying about shit, and then you're going to be home miserable and trying to compare yourself to other people, and you still haven't said what you needed to say. You're worrying about what everyone else is saying. They're focusing on yourself, you know. So, but like today, these interviews and these conversations just solidify and confirm and validate everything that I've been trying to say for so long, because it's an honor to be interviewed by yourself. You yourself done so many. I'm gonna return the favor because I want to have you on my radio show. I wish it'd be great if you were in town though. If you ever come to town, it'd be good to have you in the studio because it's a moment in London in the radio station.
I would be so honored. I would be so nervous to be at.
No, you wouldn't, because all it does is like you play the song and you talk about where you were when you heard the song. It's literally you remembering memories, just talking about, you know, your experiences. That's so what it
cool.
is.
So cool. So Terri, I want to be really respectful of your time, and I thank you so much for all the conversation that we've been having today. It's been amazing. We got to do a part 2. We have to do a part 2 or a part 3 and a part 4 or part 5. I could actually just make the podcast just about conversations with you, and I'd be very, very happy for the rest of time. It'd be good.
Let's do it.
Yeah. But I would love it if just in a couple of minutes, if you could give some great advice to the next generation of females that are coming up that want to be the next Terri Walker or any other career path within the music industry. Anything that you could say would be great.
You know, the best way I could really describe it is this song that I've written, Rhythm of Change, and it says, do what you gotta do, say what you need to say to get you through the day. When things get harder, you'll be alright. Yeah, you'll be fine. Do what you gotta do when things get harder. That's it.
That's it. Awesome. That's awesome. That's so good. That's the first performed vocally a cappella advice that I've had on this podcast, and it's great. Amazing.
It's what it is. Like the album is literally my mantra. It's like it's telling you, I'm giving you the rules, the formula of how I got back to this place. So you know, you can take from it what you want, but just follow your heart, but obviously learn from your mistakes.
Mm-hmm. Amazing. Terri, how can people find you online?
You can find me on my Instagram, which is I am Terri Walker. I have a website, which is terriwalker.co.uk.
And it's Terri, Terri.
Yes, Terri, Walker.co.uk. And you can find all of those links and stuff on my Instagram. Most of it is linked to my Instagram. Cool. But my website is there, yes.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing. Terri, thank you so much. We did it. I love that we made this happen. And I think this is the longest conversation that we've had, even though we keep passing each other by and like, you know, when we're on holiday in Mexico and California and everything. But it's just to actually sit down and talk with you has been amazing. And I want to do this again and again and again. If you're down, that'd be great. And I'd be happy to be on your podcast as well. We'll make it happen. But
I have to be on my podcast, do we?
Okay, we'll make it happen. We'll make it either in person or on Zoom. We'll figure something out. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart, and I hope you have a great rest of your day in lovely England.
Thank you, and give my love to your family, your beautiful family, and thank you so much for having me again. Seriously, it's an honor.
My absolute pleasure. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you soon.
Bye.
Okay, bye. Stay tuned for the next episode of Women in the Music Industry, coming soon. Let's embark on this incredible journey together, celebrating the women who are reshaping the music business one note at a time. If you enjoyed hearing this podcast, please take a moment and give it a like, a rating, or a follow. Your support helps immensely. We'll see you next time.